Hey guys, let's talk about wind noise. This is the kind of problem that no one ever anticipates. You get into road cycling or you buy a fast e-bike, and right around the time that you're thinking, wow, this is fast, you realize, whoa, this is also loud, right? Because once you reach a certain speed, unless you are the lucky owner of an uncommonly aerodynamically shaped head, you find that wind noise picks up to the point where you can't hear traffic. You can't hear music unless you play it dangerously loud, and well, frankly, just dealing with 80 plus decibels of wind noise is a pain in the ears. By the way, those 80 decibels I just pulled out of thin air because I don't really have a reliable way of measuring that while on a bike, but I do have some experience with a number of wind noise solutions that I would like to share with you. First though, ask yourself this one question. Who would you rather be, Bradley Wiggins or Jason Momoa? I'll give you a few seconds to ponder that very deep question. If your answer is Bradley Wiggins, that means that you are a lover of sideburns. Perhaps you don't mind looking a little different, and in that case, the Cat-Ears Airstreamz might be for you. Ta-da! Pretty snazzy, eh? Yeah, I know, they look more than a little dorky. Now, I bought these after a couple of experiments with wrapping stuff around the straps of my helmet because I saw the Airstreamz online and I thought, well, I'm not gonna spend money on something that I can easily MacGyver myself. So I did, using a pair of old gloves and some rubber bands, and of course it ended up looking pretty silly. I could probably have improved on that design, but I wound up buying the Airstreamz, and there's a couple of things I learned from that experience. And my guess is that these will also apply to competing products like the Wind-Blox Pro, because unless I'm mistaken, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, they are basically the same thing. So what have I learned? Well, most importantly, that these only really work if there is no room for air to get in between your head and the Airstreamz. And that depends mainly on two things. Number one, the way that your straps are connected to your helmet. And number two, whether or not you are wearing sunglasses. First, the straps. I got two models here, the Aeropex Hybrid Plus with a visor here and the Gyro Caden. Both good helmets in their own right, but there's a difference with the way that the straps are attached. With the Aeropex, the strap connects to the helmet about 1 centimeter from your head, which means that the Airstreamz are not flush with your face. So there's always a bit of room for air to pass in between, creating wind noise. With the Gyro, the strap is almost flush with your head, and that is much better for use with something like the Airstreamz. Even so, if you want the best experience, you should wear sunglasses or find another way to clasp the Airstreamz as close to your head as possible. Because once you do that, then you immediately notice the difference the tighter fit makes. It was only after I learned this the hard way, or the loud way in this case, that I noticed that Airstreamz has sunglasses in literally every one of their promo shots. And so my main piece of advice would be, if you're looking into this kind of solution against wind noise, I'm pretty convinced that the brand you choose, and even whether you decide to make your own version or not, because this really is a very simple thing to DIY, those choices won't matter all that much. The length won't matter much either, because I have the Airstreamz extra large, but I would recommend the regular version instead. What matters is getting the straps flush with your head, and sunglasses are probably the easiest way to do that. Not all of us, however, want to channel our inner Bradley Wiggins. Some of us would rather be Jason Momoa. And for those people, there are the Helmet Angels. The perfect look if you're riding your bike to a cosplay convention dressed as Aquaman. I honestly really don't have any idea if they work. I just thought they looked funny. There really is a ton of different products out there that promise to take care of wind noise, but a lot of them do that by covering your ears in some kind of fabric, which does work, but makes them more suitable for colder weather. And since you're likely to be wearing some kind of cap in winter, at least I am, that may not be as useful as strap-based designs. Personally, for spring and autumn use, I prefer to use a simple buff. By bunching the fabric near your ears, you can tailor it to your needs, and it has the advantage of being cheap and extremely versatile. It won't look cool, but frankly, cycling is never gonna be cool. It's got too much spandex and not nearly enough Bradley Wiggins. Lastly, I want to briefly talk about music, because once you manage to reduce wind noise, you may be tempted to fill that glorious silence with your favorite kind of music. Unless perhaps your favorite kind of music is industrial noise, because as we used to say in the 90s, that would be a little too ironic, don't you think? But a couple of pointers about that. Number one, consider sticking to silence, especially if you ride in the city. You can't beat the situational awareness, which helps keep you from being run over. And who doesn't love not dying? Number 2, consider podcasts or talk radio instead of music, because talk only covers part of the frequency range, making you more likely to hear the low rumbling of oncoming cars and trucks. Number 3, consider replacing your in-ear earbuds with bone conduction headphones like these Aeropex Aftershokz. They may not match the audio quality or the pocketability of good wireless earbuds, but they leave your ears open, allowing you to hear your surroundings. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. These were some tips based on my experiences, but I know that many of you have been riding longer and further than I have, so I am very curious to hear about your tips, favorite products, and DIY solutions for wind noise in the comments. Thank you, and see you next time.